She stood beside the checkpoint barrier observing the routine supply convoy as it approached the main gate, her attention focused on the standard security procedures that characterized daily operations at Forward Operating Base Delta. The armored vehicles moved with practiced precision through the inspection sequence, their drivers following protocols that had been refined through months of operational experience in hostile territory where convoy security meant the difference between successful resupply and catastrophic ambush. But from the crowd of local civilians gathered near the perimeter fence to observe the military activity, a hooded figure detached himself from the group and approached her position with deliberate casualness that immediately triggered her survival instincts. "Major," he whispered in accented English as he passed within arm's reach, his voice carrying recognition and knowledge that made her blood freeze in her veins. The desert remembers everything. Private First Class Jessica Torres felt her world tilt sideways as she processed the impossible words. She hadn't been Major Torres in 3 years. That rank and identity had been buried along with the classified operation that had gone catastrophically wrong in the Syrian desert. Nobody in this theater should know that designation. Nobody should connect her current assignment with missions that officially never happened. The hooded man's eyes held knowledge that suggested either intelligence compromise or connections to operations where she had been the only survivor of a team that had penetrated deep into enemy territory and discovered information that had reshaped American understanding of regional threat networks. From which deployment location around the world are you following this intelligence story today? If you appreciate narratives that explore deep cover operations and the buried identities that protect classified missions, consider subscribing for more content that reveals the complex networks of intelligence and counterintelligence that shape modern warfare. The Forward Operating Base Delta occupied 67 acres of strategically positioned territory in the contested border region, its fortified perimeter representing months of engineering construction and defensive planning designed to withstand coordinated attacks from hostile forces operating throughout the surrounding mountainous terrain. The facility served as a critical intelligence gathering point for counterterrorism operations, human intelligence collection, and rapid response missions that required immediate deployment of specialized personnel into denied territories where conventional military operations were impossible. Located within artillery range of enemy positions, the base had been constructed with reinforced bunkers, underground intelligence facilities, and overlapping observation posts that provided surveillance advantages against asymmetric warfare tactics employed by insurgent networks. The compound's intelligence architecture incorporated lessons learned from decades of special operations experience and counterintelligence methodology, including secure communication systems, automated surveillance networks, and escape routes that enabled continued operations even under direct attack or intelligence compromise. Razor wire barriers, electronic monitoring systems, and strategically positioned guard towers created multiple layers of security that protected critical personnel and sensitive information from sophisticated enemy infiltration attempts and intelligence gathering operations. Private First Class Jessica Torres descended from the communications bunker carrying routine administrative paperwork and equipment maintenance schedules, her security clearance providing access to areas that few personnel were authorized to review during their military careers. Though her current assignment to basic convoy security seemed inconsistent with the extensive background investigation required for her clearance level. The investigation process for her current position had required 36 months of federal scrutiny that examined every aspect of her personal and professional history, though investigators had encountered classified files that remained sealed at classification levels exceeding their authorization to review. At 26 years old, she possessed specialized training from the Central Intelligence Agency's Special Activities Division, having completed elite coursework in deep cover operations, human intelligence collection, and classified insertion methods before her reassignment to conventional military duties following a mission that had eliminated her entire operational team and compromised a network of assets that had taken years to develop. Her service record listed standard military police specialization and routine deployment history, though these official designations concealed operational experience and specialized capabilities that had been classified following catastrophic mission failure that claimed 8 intelligence operatives. Her training background included instruction at facilities whose existence was denied by congressional oversight committees, where intelligence contractors taught techniques typically associated with deep cover operatives rather than conventional military personnel. The program she had completed involved psychological conditioning for long-term isolation operations, advanced human intelligence procedures, and survival training that prepared personnel for missions where extraction was impossible and detection meant torture and execution. Her instructors had included former Special Activities Division operatives and foreign intelligence veterans whose experience encompassed decades of classified operations in denied territories worldwide. The decision to accept reassignment to conventional military duties rather than medical discharge had been dictated by psychological evaluation results that indicated severe survivor guilt and post-traumatic stress that made her unsuitable for continued intelligence operations. Her presence within routine military units provided therapeutic structure and purposeful activity, while her specialized background remained available for consultation on intelligence matters that benefited from her operational experience and regional knowledge. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Mitchell supervised the morning intelligence briefing with authority gained through 18 years of military intelligence operations, her expertise encompassing complex threat assessment and human intelligence coordination that supported special operations units requiring detailed understanding of enemy networks and regional political dynamics. Her background included deployment to classified operations centers throughout the Middle East and Central Asia, where intelligence analysis meant the difference between mission success and catastrophic operational failure for units operating in denied territories. Her Bronze Star Medal and multiple intelligence commendations reflected exceptional performance in both analytical assessment and operational planning that had shaped American intelligence capabilities in contested regions. The colonel's military career had evolved from tactical intelligence support to strategic threat assessment, including liaison assignments with intelligence agencies and foreign services that developed comprehensive understanding of enemy networks and operational methodologies. Her transition from field intelligence to strategic analysis had been driven by recognition that modern counterterrorism required international cooperation and analytical sophistication that exceeded traditional military intelligence boundaries. Around the classified briefing table sat representatives from Defense Intelligence Agency, Central Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, and various contractor organizations, each contributing specialized expertise to threat assessment and intelligence collection procedures that supported the most sensitive counterterrorism operations conducted by American forces. The assembled group represented decades of collective experience in human intelligence operations, threat analysis, and regional expertise that protected sensitive operations from enemy intelligence gathering and operational compromise. Major Robert Hayes, the human intelligence coordinator responsible for asset management and collection operations, possessed 12 years of experience in clandestine operations and held security clearances that provided access to the most sensitive intelligence regarding enemy networks and operational capabilities. His operational background included specialized training in asset recruitment, operational security, and clandestine communication methods that enabled intelligence collection in environments where American presence was denied or politically impossible. Major Hayes's expertise bridged the gap between strategic intelligence requirements and tactical collection operations, translating analytical needs into human intelligence missions that provided critical information about enemy capabilities while maintaining operational security that protected American assets and collection methods. His role required constant evaluation of intelligence priorities, operational risks, and asset security to ensure effective intelligence gathering without compromising personnel or revealing American intelligence capabilities. The intelligence team under Hayes's coordination represented carefully selected specialists recruited from leading intelligence agencies and military intelligence units, each bringing unique operational knowledge to the complex challenge of collecting human intelligence in hostile environments while maintaining security protocols that protected American operations from enemy counterintelligence efforts. Their work remained largely invisible to conventional military personnel, but their collection efforts directly influenced operational planning and strategic decision-making that affected mission success. Captain David Rodriguez, the counterintelligence officer responsible for protecting American operations from enemy intelligence gathering and operational compromise, possessed extensive experience in security operations and threat mitigation that enabled identification and neutralization of enemy intelligence efforts targeting American personnel and facilities. His understanding of counterintelligence encompassed both conventional security threats and sophisticated intelligence operations that characterized modern warfare, where enemies utilized human intelligence, electronic surveillance, and cyber operations to compromise American activities. The counterintelligence commander's background included specialized training in operational security, surveillance detection, and asset protection that enabled defense against enemy intelligence gathering while maintaining operational flexibility for legitimate intelligence collection activities. His responsibility for protecting sensitive operations required constant vigilance and threat assessment that anticipated enemy capabilities while preserving security for ongoing missions and personnel. Colonel, overnight intelligence indicates possible enemy interest in our human intelligence networks, with particular focus on identifying American assets and operational personnel recently assigned to this theater, Major Hayes reported, his voice carrying analytical precision that characterized professional intelligence assessment. Regional intelligence sources suggest enemy counterintelligence operations may have identified patterns in our personnel assignments or developed information about previous operations that could compromise current activities. His assessment reflected constant security concerns that characterized human intelligence operations, where enemy forces maintained continuous effort to identify American operatives and assets that could provide information about American capabilities or operational planning. The intelligence indicated escalating counterintelligence threats that required enhanced security measures and modified operational procedures to protect sensitive personnel and ongoing collection activities. The current threat assessment represented weeks of counterintelligence analysis that had identified patterns suggesting coordinated enemy efforts to map American intelligence networks through surveillance of personnel movements and communication patterns. Human intelligence sources had reported increased interest in American military personnel and attempts to develop information about previous deployments and operational assignments. Sir, we've implemented enhanced operational security protocols, including varied movement patterns, increased communication security, and background screening for local personnel with access to American operations, Captain Rodriguez explained. His report reflecting systematic approach to threat mitigation that balanced security requirements with operational effectiveness for legitimate intelligence collection activities. However, complete protection from sophisticated counterintelligence operations requires security measures that could significantly impact our ability to conduct necessary human intelligence collection and maintain asset networks. His analysis highlighted fundamental tension between security and operational requirements, where perfect protection from enemy counterintelligence efforts often conflicted with intelligence collection activities that required calculated risks and exposure to enemy surveillance. The balance between acceptable security risk and operational effectiveness required constant adjustment based on evolving threat assessments and mission priorities. The security measures implemented by Rodriguez's team represented state-of-the-art counterintelligence techniques developed through years of operational experience and technological advancement. Electronic counter-surveillance, behavioral analysis, and automated monitoring systems provided capabilities that enhanced security while maintaining efficiency for legitimate operations, though determined enemies continued developing methods that challenged American security procedures. Captain Rodriguez, what specific recommendations do you have for protecting intelligence operations during this elevated threat period? Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell inquired, her question reflecting command responsibility for balancing intelligence collection requirements with security obligations that could affect operational effectiveness and personnel safety. The question addressed core challenges facing intelligence commanders in contemporary warfare, where operational security requirements often conflicted with collection activities that demanded calculated exposure to enemy surveillance and counterintelligence efforts. The decision-making process required weighing potential intelligence compromises against collection objectives that might justify accepting increased risk levels. Torres quietly moved through the base perimeter conducting routine security inspection, her movements deliberately systematic and unremarkable to avoid attracting attention from potential enemy surveillance, while she processed the psychological impact of her assignment to conventional duties that seemed disconnected from her specialized training and operational experience. Her intelligence background enabled recognition of surveillance attempts and threat indicators that conventional personnel might overlook, while her classified operational history remained unknown to routine military personnel who viewed her as a dedicated soldier with unusual attention to detail. Her background in deep cover operations provided unique perspective on security threats and intelligence collection that informed her understanding of base security and personnel protection, though her classified mission history remained sealed at levels that prevented discussion with conventional military supervisors or colleagues. The security inspection that Torres conducted served multiple purposes beyond routine base protection, allowing her to evaluate threat indicators and assess surveillance attempts through pattern recognition techniques learned during classified training programs. Her specialized knowledge enabled detection of anomalies that conventional security procedures might miss, providing intelligence that enhanced overall base security and operational protection. The base perimeter facilities represented months of construction and security planning designed to protect intelligence operations and personnel from enemy surveillance and infiltration attempts. Advanced monitoring systems, reinforced barriers, and overlapping observation posts created security advantages that protected sensitive activities while enabling routine military operations and intelligence collection. The engineering specifications that guided perimeter construction incorporated lessons learned from previous intelligence compromises and theoretical advances in facility security developed by intelligence agencies and security specialists. Each security component had been carefully designed to provide monitoring capabilities and access control that eliminated vulnerabilities while maintaining operational flexibility for legitimate activities. Private Torres maintained standard security procedures but remain alert for any unusual civilian behavior or surveillance attempts that might indicate enemy intelligence gathering activities. Captain Rodriguez instructed, his guidance reflecting standard security protocols while acknowledging operational awareness that Torres brought to threat detection and security assessment. His instructions contained subtle recognition of Torres's situational awareness and analytical capabilities that exceeded standard military training, though the acknowledgement remained coded in language that preserved operational security regarding her classified background and specialized knowledge that other personnel were not authorized to access. The security briefing continued for 50 minutes, with various specialists contributing threat assessments and security recommendations based on current intelligence and counterintelligence analysis. The assembled group represented finest intelligence minds available for operational security and threat assessment, though their conventional backgrounds limited understanding of deep cover perspectives and operational experience that existed within their own personnel. The complexity of human intelligence security in modern warfare required synthesis of information from multiple sources, including counterintelligence reports, surveillance detection, behavioral analysis, and operational security assessment that enabled prediction of enemy intelligence efforts before they compromised American operations. The analytical precision required for effective security planning exceeded capabilities of individual specialists and demanded collaborative effort from experts with diverse operational backgrounds. Torres positioned herself near the main gate observation post while maintaining routine security duties that provided cover for monitoring civilian activity and behavioral patterns that might indicate enemy surveillance or intelligence gathering attempts. Her deep cover training enabled recognition of surveillance techniques and operational indicators that conventional personnel might interpret incorrectly or fail to recognize entirely. The monitoring activities that Torres conducted automatically incorporated advanced techniques learned during classified training programs that emphasize survival in hostile environments where conventional security methods might be inadequate or compromised. Her ability to evaluate civilian behavior enabled identification of potential threats and intelligence activities that purely defensive thinking might miss. The supply convoy arrival became visible through routine base operations approximately 2 hours into her duty shift, its standard procedures and familiar vehicle configurations providing routine activity that masked the significance of civilian observation and potential intelligence gathering opportunities that enemy forces might exploit for operational planning. The convoy characteristics indicated routine resupply rather than sensitive operations, though civilian interests suggested possible intelligence value that enemies might derive from observing American logistics and security procedures. Her recognition of routine convoy operations reflected training and operational experience that enabled accurate assessment of military activities and their potential intelligence value to enemy forces seeking information about American capabilities and operational patterns. The civilian presence near convoy operations created opportunities for intelligence gathering that required careful monitoring and threat assessment. The civilian observation activities appeared routine for local population interest in military operations, though the potential for enemy intelligence gathering required continuous evaluation and security awareness that protected American operational information from unauthorized collection. The balance between normal civilian interaction and security requirements demanded constant vigilance and professional assessment. The hooded figure's approach became apparent through Torres's trained surveillance awareness approximately 15 minutes before the actual contact, his movement patterns and behavioral characteristics indicating intentional approach rather than casual civilian curiosity about military operations. The individual's positioning and timing suggested knowledge of base security procedures and personnel assignments that exceeded normal civilian understanding of military activities. Her recognition of deliberate surveillance and approach techniques reflected training that had exposed her to sophisticated intelligence operations and counter-surveillance methods typically employed by professional operatives rather than casual observers. The behavioral indicators suggested operational background and purposeful activity that demanded immediate assessment and appropriate security response. The approach pattern demonstrated by the civilian figure indicated knowledge of security gaps and observation techniques that suggested either professional training or detailed surveillance of base operations over extended periods. The sophistication of the approach suggested capabilities that exceeded typical civilian interest and indicated possible intelligence background or enemy affiliation. Instead of immediately responding to the civilian approach, Torres carefully evaluated the individual's behavior and positioning for threat indicators and operational signatures that would determine appropriate security response while maintaining her cover assignment and avoiding actions that might compromise her specialized background. Her deep cover training included extensive instruction in threat assessment and response procedures designed to protect operational security while enabling appropriate defensive action. The evaluation process required balancing immediate security requirements with operational security protocols that protected her classified background and maintained her cover assignment within conventional military duties. Her specialized training provided knowledge necessary for proper threat assessment while maintaining security posture that protected ongoing operations and personnel safety. The verbal contact and rank recognition that the civilian figure demonstrated indicated access to classified information and operational knowledge that should not exist within civilian populations, suggesting either intelligence compromise or connections to previous operations that involved her specialized background and mission experience. The accurate use of her former rank indicated detailed knowledge of her operational history and assignments that were supposed to remain classified. Staff Sergeant Michael Anderson, the gate security chief responsible for monitoring civilian interaction and coordinating security responses, noticed unusual civilian behavior through standard observation procedures designed to identify potential threats and intelligence gathering attempts. Colonel, we're observing civilian contact with base personnel using what appears to be specific knowledge of individual assignments and operational backgrounds. The interaction suggests possible intelligence compromise or enemy attempt to establish contact with specific personnel. His report reflected base security capabilities that monitored civilian interaction and identified potential intelligence threats through systematic observation of behavioral patterns and contact attempts. The security systems represented standard protocols designed to protect personnel from enemy intelligence gathering while maintaining appropriate community relations and operational security. The intelligence gathered through Anderson's security monitoring provided critical information about potential threats and enemy capabilities that informed security planning and threat response procedures. The analysis of civilian behavior enabled identification of intelligence activities while maintaining security protocols that protected American operations from enemy collection efforts. Sergeant Anderson, can your security teams identify the specific civilian and determine the source of information that enabled recognition of personnel assignments? Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell inquired, her question reflecting command responsibility for understanding intelligence threats while coordinating appropriate security responses that protected personnel and operational information. The colonel's response demonstrated systematic approach to threat assessment that characterized effective intelligence leadership, where potential intelligence compromises required immediate investigation and appropriate response, while maintaining security protocols that prevented further information disclosure. The priority placed on understanding enemy capabilities reflected recognition that intelligence threats required adaptive security strategies. Torres approached the security station with measured steps that maintained her cover as routine military personnel while providing critical intelligence about the civilian contact and information disclosure. Her deep cover training enabled accurate evaluation of intelligence threats and security requirements that conventional personnel might misinterpret or fail to understand completely. Her movement toward the security station appeared routine to casual observers, but represented calculated decision-making that balanced security requirements with operational protection obligations. The specialized knowledge that informed her assessment could provide critical insights for appropriate security responses and threat evaluation. Ma'am, the civilian contact demonstrated knowledge of classified operational assignments and personnel backgrounds that suggest either significant intelligence compromise or connections to previous operations that remain classified above routine briefing levels, Torres reported, her voice maintaining professional military bearing while conveying information that reflected specialized training and operational experience. The individual's knowledge appears to focus on specific personnel rather than general base operations, suggesting targeted intelligence gathering or operational recognition. Her assessment provided context for the security threat that enabled appropriate response procedures and intelligence evaluation of enemy capabilities and information sources. The distinction between general intelligence gathering and targeted personnel recognition was critical for determining security requirements and understanding potential compromise of classified operations. Captain Rodriguez studied Torres with renewed interest, his counterintelligence background enabling recognition that her assessment demonstrated operational knowledge that exceeded standard military training and suggested specialized background in classified operations and intelligence security. Private Torres, your evaluation of intelligence threats is remarkably sophisticated for routine security duties. Can you elaborate on the specific indicators that suggest targeted intelligence gathering rather than general surveillance activities? His question reflected institutional curiosity about Torres's analytical capabilities and sources of specialized knowledge that enabled accurate threat assessment under complex security conditions. The precision of her analysis suggested operational backgrounds that exceeded her official military assignment and indicated possible classified experience or intelligence training. Sir, the civilian's approach pattern, timing, and specific knowledge of individual assignments indicate operational planning and information gathering that exceeds casual observation or general intelligence collection, Torres explained, her response demonstrating operational knowledge that reflected specialized training in intelligence security and threat assessment procedures. The recognition of specific rank and operational background suggests access to classified information sources or direct involvement in previous operations that involve the targeted personnel. Her explanation provided specific analytical details that supported her threat assessment while demonstrating knowledge that exceeded routine military training and suggested specialized education or operational experience. The sophistication of her analysis indicated familiarity with intelligence operations and security methodologies that characterize classified training rather than standard military duties. The detailed nature of Torres's threat assessment impressed assembled officers, who recognized that her analytical capabilities exceeded expectations for her current assignment and suggested potential for enhanced responsibilities within intelligence operations and security assessment activities. Her demonstrated expertise represented valuable assets that could enhance operational security and threat evaluation. Private Torres, your analysis suggests significant experience with intelligence operations and threat assessment methodologies, Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell observed, her comment reflecting recognition that Torres's capabilities extended beyond standard military qualifications and indicated specialized training or operational background. Have you received additional training in intelligence analysis or counterintelligence operations? The question addressed institutional curiosity about Torres's background while acknowledging that her demonstrated capabilities suggested qualifications that exceeded her current assignment and indicated potential for expanded responsibilities within intelligence operations and security planning. Ma'am, I completed specialized training with Central Intelligence Agency's Special Activities Division before my current assignment, Torres replied carefully, providing information that explained her capabilities while maintaining operational security regarding classified programs and missions that other personnel were not authorized to access. My background includes instruction in deep cover operations, threat assessment, and operational security procedures. Her response provided context for her exceptional performance while maintaining appropriate operational security regarding classified training programs and specialized missions that informed her threat assessment and analytical methodology. The acknowledgement of CIA training background explained her exceptional capabilities while preserving security regarding specific operations and assignments. The revelation of Torres's intelligence training background provided explanation for her exceptional threat assessment capabilities while raising questions about her assignment to routine military duties that failed to utilize her specialized qualifications effectively. Her presence within conventional military units suggested operational decisions or mission failures that had resulted in her specialized talents being underutilized for security reasons. Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell made immediate command decision that reflected institutional recognition of specialized capabilities and urgent need to investigate potential intelligence compromise requiring her specific expertise. Private Torres, you are temporarily assigned to counterintelligence operations as threat analyst. Captain Rodriguez, integrate Torres into your assessment team and coordinate immediate investigation of this potential intelligence compromise. The assignment represented acknowledgement that Torres's specialized capabilities were critical for properly investigating the current security situation and ensuring appropriate response that protected operational security while determining the extent of potential intelligence compromise. Her demonstrated competence in threat assessment aligned perfectly with counterintelligence requirements that demanded sophisticated analytical capabilities and operational experience. The immediate nature of the assignment reflected military efficiency in utilizing available expertise when security situations demanded specialized knowledge and operational understanding. Lieutenant Colonel Mitchell's decision demonstrated leadership flexibility that enabled rapid adaptation to changing requirements and unexpected capabilities within existing personnel resources. Captain Rodriguez provided Torres with counterintelligence equipment that reflected genuine recognition of her specialized background and threat analysis capabilities. Welcome to Counterintelligence Operations, Private Torres. Your operational expertise represents exactly the knowledge we need for investigating intelligence threats and operational security assessment. His welcome represented beginning of operational relationships based on demonstrated capability rather than rank or institutional assumptions about where specialized expertise might be located. The recognition of Torres's CIA background promised opportunities to contribute meaningfully to critical security operations that protected personnel and operational information. The professional respect implicit in Rodriguez's welcome reflected fundamental shift in how Torres would be viewed within the military organization during security operations. Her transition from routine military duties to specialized counterintelligence work demonstrated potential for exceptional talent to emerge from unexpected assignments when security situations demanded specialized capabilities. The counterintelligence investigation that Torres coordinated resulted in identification of enemy intelligence network and prevention of operational compromise that could have endangered multiple ongoing missions and intelligence assets. Her threat analysis had enabled proper security response and intelligence assessment that protected American operations while revealing enemy capabilities and operational methods. Her work included analyzing enemy intelligence methods, coordinating security responses, and providing operational assessment that enabled successful counterintelligence operations under complex security conditions. Each contribution demonstrated value of specialized intelligence training applied to practical security situations that affected operational success and personnel protection. The threat assessment protocols that Torres had developed became standard reference for counterintelligence operations, illustrating importance of maintaining institutional expertise in deep cover operations and value of personnel with specialized intelligence backgrounds. Torres's story influenced personnel utilization policies that emphasized identifying and maintaining access to intelligence expertise throughout military organizations. 6 months after the intelligence compromise investigation, Sergeant Torres received promotion and assignment as Senior Counterintelligence Analyst for Regional Security Operations covering multiple intelligence installations. Her advancement reflected institutional recognition that exceptional analytical capabilities and operational experience required appropriate recognition and opportunities for expanded responsibility. Her progression from routine military duties to specialized intelligence operations demonstrated military's capacity for recognizing and developing specialized talent when circumstances revealed capabilities and security requirements demanded specific expertise. The transformation also reflected institutional learning about importance of maintaining personnel with diverse intelligence backgrounds. Today, Staff Sergeant Torres leads the Regional Counterintelligence Assessment Center, overseeing threat analysis and security coordination that supports intelligence operations throughout the theater. Her team of intelligence specialists continues to advance threat detection capabilities and analytical methodologies that protect American operations from increasingly sophisticated enemy intelligence efforts. Her leadership position represents culmination of career that experienced operational tragedy and evolved into directing critical security operations that support the most sensitive intelligence missions. The trajectory demonstrated how specialized intelligence talent and operational experience could transform both individual careers and institutional capabilities for operational security and threat assessment. The organization she directs has become model for integrating operational intelligence experience with analytical assessment requirements, attracting top talent from intelligence agencies and military intelligence units. Her success has inspired similar programs throughout the intelligence community that seek to identify and utilize personnel with combined operational and analytical expertise. The soldier they had assumed was just conducting routine security duties had become the analytical backbone for regional counterintelligence operations, proving that extraordinary operational experience often exists within personnel whose specialized backgrounds remain hidden by routine assignments. Sometimes the most critical capabilities come from individuals whose intelligence experience has been channeled into protective service for their fellow operatives, and institutional effectiveness often depends on recognizing specialized talent regardless of its apparent assignment or operational history. Her story continues to inspire counterintelligence analysts and intelligence personnel who understand that operational experience creates unique capabilities for protecting American operations, demonstrating that specialized talent will find purpose when given appropriate opportunities to contribute to meaningful security missions and intelligence protection operations.